Morning, everybody, and welcome to the Alpha Pension Group Retirement Recap for Friday, April 17th. With me is Rob Milas, our Chief Investment Officer, and Mark Salamone, our Lead Consultant. So today is the end of a very long week. Rob, tell us what's been going on in the markets, and I know the futures for today look very positive.
Yeah, today has very positive news with regard to the futures. Yesterday we saw a mixed market based on the surge in unemployment claims and a slump in the housing market. So, for the week as we wrap up here, the small companies represented by the Russell 2000 down about 5.5%. But if we look at the S&P 500, it's basically flat, and if we can hold this positive momentum through the end of the day, we'll end up with a positive number for the large companies, again, covered by that S&P 500 index. So for the week, we have President Trump releasing guidelines for reopening the economy, again, driving those positive numbers for today. Yesterday, we had the announcement of 5.2 million Americans filing for unemployment. Obviously, that's not good news, but it was down 1.3 million from the week previous. So the trend is in the right direction. Obviously, that's good news. And then finally, we have lawmakers still struggling to get that additional $250 billion into the payroll protection program that is so important for our small businesses. So that was the week, Rich.
Thanks, Rob. And along with the long week in the markets, we also covered here on the Retirement Recap a lot of different topics. So Mark, I'm going to ask you to do your best to very quickly sort of bring those all into one umbrella and tell us what we covered and what everyone needs to know.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, this week we covered a lot of ground. We started with talking how target date funds, a popular default option for most plan sponsors operating retirement plans. Target date funds are those age-appropriate funds that a lot of participants have been utilizing over the years. Those target date funds and their performance were reviewed at length. And as it turns out, during the crisis this year so far, there's been a lot of good news regarding the target date funds amidst obviously not a great market environment. We talked about how changing employer match is a popular topic right now because as employers everywhere are looking for ways to defer expenses, save some money, changing the employer match is something they are considering. And with that goes some logistics, whether or not you can do it, what you have to do to make sure your plan documents in line with whatever match you're going to change or however you're going to change it. We talked about that earlier this week. The Main Street Lending Program, another lending program that's available for businesses, was reviewed. And this is, I think, actually very timely because the SBA just yesterday announced that there is no money for the Paycheck Protection Program, a pretty popular option amongst small businesses. So I'm sure the Main Street Lending Program will be hopefully another source of relief for those businesses that can't get the Paycheck Protection Program. And as Rob mentioned, hopefully there's going to be more money for that program down the road. The CARES Act and the different provisions that gives for 401k plans when it comes to expanded loans and expanded distributions. The way that companies are dealing with that and whether or not they're going to offer those provisions was reviewed. And larger companies and smaller companies are differing on what to do there. Last but not least, and this is probably one of the more popular searches on the internet, Get My Payment app. And that Get My Payment app is the application that can help you try to figure out exactly where your stimulus check is, when it's coming, how much it will be. And that was obviously a big piece of information we reviewed this week. So that's this week and hopefully under 60 seconds.
I don't know about the 60 seconds, but a lot of good information. So thanks so much. And speaking of Google searches and most popular searches, you're right, Mark. So My Payment app is definitely one of them. That app actually becomes available today. So people are going to be looking for that. And that's really good news. So people can find out where their stimulus checks are. We thought we'd bring to you the 4 other big searches for the week on Google. The next one being buzz cuts. So not an issue for Rob, fortunately, but Mark and I are looking a little bit, I don't know, I don't want to go to the buzz cut. I don't know what your strategy is, Mark, but I need to figure out something pretty soon. Another popular search, and this has been for a while, obviously, have we flattened the curve? Unfortunately, I don't think the answer yet is yes, but there's definitely some progress. The last two, will life get back to normal? I think we all took for granted what normal was. I don't think we felt normal was normal then, but we'd all die to go back there. So we're all looking for that. And lastly, how to keep your kids busy in quarantine. And I found this one particularly interesting for a couple of reasons. One, I have 3 kids. 10, 9, and 7. And also, our Director of Education, Jennifer Sahadi, is coming out with something pretty cool for the month of May. And this is, I suppose, it's a big announcement. Where she's going to develop 1 day a week an education platform for kids to learn about finances. So not only will that be nice for them to learn about the basics of finances, but also an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes, where you can put your kids in a safe place in front of an iPad and get a little break too. So that's what we have for you here for the retirement recap for the week ending April 17th. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday because it's a long weekend here in Boston. And thanks so much.